Okay, great then. So before we start, how many of you did try that currency conversion function, the assignment which I gave yesterday? Did all of you try? Meko, Vimla, Vili, Anuja. Okay, so Vimla, you were able to get the output, right? Stephanie, you were able to get the output, right? Yeah, Meko, tell me what is the issue? You people can speak up. I have muted you all. You are not on lecture mode. So you can speak up. Let's have a discussion.
Hello, Xavier. How are you? Good morning for you.
Hi,
actually, I have, well, it says, oh, okay. Well, now it says preserved type can only be used with cast on data element. I have a problem with when I try to cast the system date, you know?
No, so, why? Line number 23, can you see here? You can refer to this line. Tell me, where are you going wrong or something?
Well, what I have is a cast $session system date, but I have it as ABAP.char8, not, I'm not using the date.
Okay. No, the problem is in the currency conversion, if you make it an ABAP.char8, the problem will be this accepts in the date format, okay, as in the date type. Now, if you give char, like example, when you used to handle this currency conversion in ABAP, you used to provide the exchange rate date, right? Either the current system date or whatever date the functionals will be giving, right? Or as in as per the requirement. So similarly, if you give ABAP.char8, so basically casting is like conversion, right? We are doing an explicit conversion. So now if you give ABAP.char8, the problem it will be of char data type. That will be the problem.
Right. So it should be DATS, right? The ATS.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. I'll change that.
The best part, why I gave you this requirement, because see, apart from the unit conversion, this currency conversion is a common requirement which people keep on getting. So now the thing is that in the coming days, whenever you get this requirement, rather than pushing it to your application server and doing it inside loop, use this concept of currency conversion. Keep this code handy, pass this code, and just get it done. You will get the entire data and you will be able to see the performance change. It will be very much faster. So Vimla, you also tried in the same approach, and Stephanie, or any other approach?
Kabir, I tried the same way, but I feel that...
Vimla, I'm not able to hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, Vimla. Yeah, now it's better.
Yeah, I tried the same like you, but I am not tried with the error handling. But when I am
so I'll add this point why I added this error handling. Apart from this, the remaining concept was same, right?
Yeah. Can you execute this and show us the result? Because when I am converting into 7069.
Vimla, I think I'm not able to hear you. Your voice is very low.
Oh, sorry. No, can you execute this and show us the result? Because when I am trying to do that decimal point, the amount is getting one more something, how to say.
Okay, so
100 it is showing 1000. I feel like that because
Okay, I understood.
Yeah.
Is it fine?
Yeah, like this only I also got the answer. But is it right?
Yeah. See, the thing is that it gives ABAP what is the type? ABAP.cur, right? The data that you are getting. One was ABAP.coan and this was ABAP.cur. Now, if you want to handle it in a particular format, just cast the same into ABAP.cur and specify the length and decimals, like how we did for quantity.
Okay.
Just add a cast before this bracket. This is your entire operand, this entire function. Because we discussed this yesterday, right? That in the CDS you can chain whatever built-in functions you want as per the requirement. So cast, this is your entire operand as ABAP.cur, length, comma, decimal. That's it.
Okay. I didn't try that one. Yeah.
You can try that part. Yeah, to increase or decrease the decimals and all. We'll take care. If you want more precision, obviously the the decimals has to be increased, right? Because the precision comes with the decimal places, right? So you can handle it through that cast.
Okay.
Okay. Stephanie, did you try in the same way? Okay, let's open your CDS. I understood you gave an input parameter. That's great. So you tried in a different way. And there was one small typo mistake which I told yesterday, that the table will be TCURR, TCURR. There's a one R missing there. It will be TCURR.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was just trying to find that table and I couldn't. That's why.
Actually, that table is like maintained. It's a customizing table. So that those are maintained by the functionals. So actually, one small typo mistake is there. It's TCURR. Yeah, great, Stephanie. So basically, you used parameters where you are passing the currency, and moreover, since it's a currency, you cannot make it optional. So it has to be mandatory. You cannot use at the environment.system field, and then you are adding this. Yeah, great. So here in the currency conversion, you are passing the parameter. So this is also a great idea. An exchange rate type as MNO. Great. So one point, if you see, I have added a concept called error handling here. Because see, in the function module, when you used to call the function module in ABAP, so we used to have an size abaci check with the concept of exceptions, right? So here in CDS, yesterday as we saw that on error option was there during the Day8 function. Similarly here, an error handling is there, which you can use if in case the conversion or something fails because of data not maintained or anything or the other. So there you can set an error handling, like I have used set to null. So the different possible values which are fail on error and keep unconverted. So if you throw fail on error, some message will come. Or you can use keep unconverted as well, but the better I use is set to null in case if the conversion fails. Stephanie, CDS SQL view is basically like a representation of a database view, which actually resides in your database. So whenever you create a CDS, as I told you, if you right click on this, you will get a statement which will show the create SQL statement. See here, wait, show SQL create statement. So whenever we create a DDL source, on the activation of the same, one CDS view, CDS entity and one SQL view gets created. So SQL view is just a representation of your database object, which is actually the object which is residing in your database. This CDS entity doesn't reside anywhere. Basically, this DDL source is residing in a new repository, right? So that is the major difference. All data modeling and all will be done as a part of your CDS entity, but your major representation of your database object will be your the CDS activated SQL view. Is it clear, Stephanie?
Okay,
so any further? Yeah, tell me.
I have a question. This is Mirko again.
Yeah.
What you have the annotation semantics amount currency code, converted currency code. Where is that? Line 19. Yeah, 19 and 25.
Yeah,
okay.
See here.
Converted currency code. Gotcha. Okay.
Got it.
All right.
I use the alias name here. Same I have put it here. I told, right? We should make this a habit so that the other person can understand. And I directly used cast as this. So similarly, if she's like Stephanie is using here, now the thing is that she has used C here. She has directly used the parameter as new currency. She has given the alias name here, and she has specified the semantics here. You can do anything as per the requirement. It will be. See, this is more of a real-time requirement because what will happen normally, the currency will be coming from your source, right? Like someone will be specifying which currency they want. Example, right? So on the basis of that as an input, you pass it here and see the type. Where do you go? You pass it here and then you use it here. That's it. See here, display currency data element, CUKY. So she has used this currency data element. Can you see? And we had discussed yesterday, right, that we can use a data element ABAP data dictionary type here, or that ABAP dot whatever your elementary types here, right?
Right.
Only those two are possible. So you can use in this way, or you can use in this way. If the requirement is static, right, where they tell to know we want in suppose INR or whatever currency it is, INR, GBP or whatever to US dollar only, you go by this way. If they make it dynamic that they want to pass the currency code and then they want to change it, you go by this way. So both are there for you now. Clear, Minko?
Yeah. Thank you.
SNWDO create at you cannot pass because that's a timestamp field, Willie. If you see the data element there, it's a timestamp field. It's not a date type field. And it expects a date type field here. Is it clear, Willie? So any further question? Any other question? And yeah, one more thing. Did you all people try out that SQL code, that modern ABAP SQL yesterday, which I was showing? Mirko, Aldo, Willie, anyone? Did you try it out? Bimla? So nobody tried, yeah? Okay, so Aldo hasn't tried it. Mirko, did you try?
Last week assignment, right?
No, I have not.
Yeah, last week's assignment.
Yeah, that week I tried.
I didn't get you, Bimla.
Yeah, I did that.
Okay, so you got it right. So did you just do a runtime analysis from your system perspective?
No, that I didn't do.
Okay, not an issue. Just try it out.
Sure.
Okay, so somebody has used the function C. Okay, great. Yeah, really, so basically you have got a solution by yourself only. See, you have used the timestamp to dates function to convert it to date. But tell me one thing, how do you plan to use this again here? How do you plan to use this again here? That's what my question is again. Willie, can you unmute yourself? The problem in CDS is that if I am creating any alias field name, I cannot reuse the same. I will not be able to reuse the same. That is the problem, Willie. So that's what I was telling. You can, first point is you directly cannot use this created date as this is a timestamp here. That is the first problem. Second problem, even if I use a function here, like you have used it here, to convert this to date, the other problem that you will get here is that I cannot use this alias name again here. So that is the point that I was saying. Did you get my point, Willie? Okay, great. So then I think should we start with today's topic? Yeah, we cannot use the alias. So further, okay, thanks. So we don't have any further doubts, right?
Can you show us your final screen? What you display in the data?
Parameters with select options, Vimla, we will do in day 9. That's an advanced concept. I'll cover that in day 9. First, today we will be covering all the basics and then, Mirko, this is my output.
I just wanted to see that the conversion rate, if I was getting it right. That's all. Okay, I see. Okay. My screen is the same as yours. Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, fine then. So before we start, first question, how many of you do know about AMDP and you have used the same? First question, how many of you do really know about AMDP? Or this is the first time you are going to study about AMDP? General opinion please from every one of you. So great, then it will be much more exciting for you, right? to understand and know about AMDP as for most of the people? Okay. So we saw modern ABAP syntaxes, we saw modern ABAP OpenSQL, we saw CDS. Now let's see AMDP. Okay. So first question, what is the full form of AMDP? What's the full form of AMDP? No Google, please. So ABAP managed data procedures. Okay. Any other? Yeah, so sometimes we say ABAP managed data procedures, sometimes we say ABAP managed database procedures. Anything is fine. Okay. So now, first let us see the agenda that we plan to cover today. So we will be having an introduction to AMDP. We will have an introduction to AMDP. We will have an overview of how the AMDP syntax looks like. What are the different benefits and restrictions that you get as a part of the usage of AMDP? We'll get our hands dirty by creating our first AMDP. Then we will see how to consume AMDP from ABAP programs. Also, I've added one more point, how to consume an AMDP inside another AMDP. Then, what are the important points that you really need to keep in mind while you are handling an AMDP code, and ultimately how to debug an AMDP. That's what the agenda for today. Okay. Okay. So, suppose you get a requirement wherein you have to considerably improve the performance of your ABAP applications, right? And you come to know that you cannot achieve the same either by using modern ABAP OpenSQL or by using CDS. So, just a simple answer, then which concept will come into picture? Anyone please? Which concept will come into picture? Right. If you are not able to achieve the same by anything, your AMDP will come into picture. So, any guesses as to what is AMDP? So, let me iterate for you. Starting from ABAP 7.4 Service Pack 5 onwards, SAP offers AMDPs as a top-down approach. Remember that picture which I showed you during CDS, that top-down approach picture. So, as like CDS came into picture, similarly, SAP offers now AMDPs as a top-down approach to create and call stored procedures on SAP HANA database. I'll explain everything one by one, what I mean by the statement. So, simple is that AMDPs are being offered by SAP as a top-down approach, as in the code pushdown process, to create and call stored procedures on SAP HANA database. So first point, before I start, when I say the word stored procedures, if anybody of you has ever worked on HANA as a developer, then sometimes the requirement comes that you have to create a stored procedure and use the same in any form, either in ABAP layer or by calling it in a calculation view, just to give you a basic information. Okay. So similarly now, when I talk about AMDP, this word will again come into picture called stored procedure. So if I say it in simple words, AMDP, that is ABAP managed database procedure or ABAP managed data procedure as you say, is basically managed by ABAP, and currently AMDP only supports database procedures from the SAP HANA database only. So because of this statement that AMDP only supports database procedures from the SAP HANA database, I say, as in we say or SAP says, that AMDP is database dependent as of now. Got my point? AMDP is database dependent as of now. So I again repeat, AMDP, to make it in simple words, is a database procedure which is managed by ABAP and AMDP only supports database procedures from the SAP HANA database as of now. AMDP is one of the most recommended patterns for use in ABAP code optimization within the context of ABAP development on SAP HANA. Remember this statement very well. Again, I'll repeat. AMDP is one of the most recommended patterns that we use for ABAP code optimization within the context when we speak that we want to do development on ABAP on HANA. So, if you see this picture, this is my application server. Okay, this is my SAP HANA as a database. And why I say top-down approach? Because when I create an ABAP managed database procedure, inbuilt feature is there. It will deploy a stored procedure on the SAP HANA database. And the best part is that the lifecycle transport management system, you don't have to worry so much, because when I said a few minutes back that if somebody of you have worked on HANA as a developer, when I create a stored procedure and I use the same in my ABAP application server, both the transport management, as in the transport of this HANA artifact and the transport of this ABAP artifact, goes completely differently. You have to manage this in a separate way and you have to manage this in a different way. But with AMDPs coming into picture, I don't have to worry or bother about the transportation of the same, as in that stored procedure which is getting created by default in my HANA database. I have to just think about my ABAP managed database procedure, and it will be transported in the same way as we transport our normal ABAP objects. Till this point, is it clear, guys? I tried to make it very simple. Any doubts till this point? Anyone? Okay, Mirko says, anyone else? Any doubts? Okay. Let's move forward. So, as I was telling you, using this AMDP technique, your editing of code, activation and transport and the lifecycle management of this database procedure are all performed on the application server itself. So you don't have to think about both these environments. You need to just think about your application server itself. Okay. Now, moving forward to the AMDP framework. See here, what I was telling, that this is your global class, suppose, right? Here you write your method with your database specific script. We'll explain one by one what I mean. So, AMDP, I create my AMDP as a class, which I say is my global ABAP class, and it consists of an ABAP managed database procedure method, which contains your database specific script, because I already said it's database dependent. Now, in the ABAP program, I'll call this method with the help of this class, like how we call the method with the help of a class of a normal ABAP class. And when I give a certain statements as a part of this framework, I use certain keywords which we will discuss. I use a keyword called by database procedure. So because of the statement, the stored procedures on database gets created implicitly. So this is your overall AMDP ka framework. Okay, ABAP program, which will call the method of this AMDP class. This is your global class, and it consists of the method with the database specific script. And when I use this keyword by database procedure, then it creates a stored procedure in your database. So using this AMDP framework has some of the major advantages, like your SQL script source code is edited and managed in an ABAP repository object. Okay, before I use this word SQL script, how many of you know this word SQL script, or are you hearing this for the first time, SQL script? Okay, to make it very much simple for you, when we write ABAP Open SQL, okay, at our ABAP application server, so how does the execution takes place? Because of the database interface and all, it gets converted to native SQL and gets converted and gets executed in the database specific, right? So similarly, your native SQL is specific to your SAP HANA database, right? So the SAP HANA database understands the SQL, which is known as SQL script, to make it very much simple for you. SAP HANA database, whatever SQL it understands, which is specific to so SQL script source code is. Am I audible or not? Any audio issues? Should I repeat? Did we miss anything? Okay, I'll repeat again. So what I was telling is SQL script only that is known as your SQL script that you are writing to specific to HANA as a database. This concept of SQL script or native SQL in HANA. Hello? Am I audible or are we losing connection? Just a second. Is it fine now, guys? Great. So what I was telling, this SQL script word, this is related to your SAP HANA natively, as in your SAP HANA understands a native SQL, and apart from native SQL, it doesn't understand anything. Since in AMDP, I use the word that it is database dependent, as in it can be written only on HANA database as on now. So that's why you have to make use of SQL script to write your SQL queries. You cannot make use of ABAP OpenSQL. It doesn't understand your ABAP OpenSQL. It understands the native SQL, which is specific to HANA as a database. So that native SQL which is specific to HANA as a database, that is known as your SQL script. So using the AMDP framework, the advantage that it offers is SQL script source code. Basically, it can be edited and managed in an ABAP repository object, because earlier when we were doing development specific to HANA, we used to do this development at the HANA database level. But now the SQL script source code is edited and managed in an ABAP repository object. Another important point, that the SQL script syntax check is tightly integrated into the ABAP syntax check. Third point, earlier you will not be able to debug the stored procedures because those were created on HANA. But now, since I am using the AMDP ABAP repository object to write the SQL script, so you can debug the SQL script, which is tightly integrated with your ABAP debugging. And the ultimate and the final important point, that the stored procedures are automatically created, deployed on the SAP HANA database. So a very important point that you need to note down here is that database procedures managed by ABAP can only be defined in the classes that implements a marker interface if underscore AMDP underscore marker underscore HTTP. I'll show you this. So what I mean from this complete framework is that AMDPs are created as a method of global classes. Please mark my words. AMDPs are created as a method of global classes. But in contrast to your normal methods, they are not implemented with your ABAP source code. That's why I say it's a method with database specific programming language such as SAP HANA SQL script. So how do we identify whether a method is implemented in ABAP or any other language is by this identification. If you see this addition by database procedure, in the method implementation part, it will help us to understand that the method is implemented in a language other than ABAP. So, a simple question to you. Just by this addition, will you be able to understand or identify that this is an AMDP method? Yes or no? Yes. But just now I told you one more important point. That a class definition part also has to fulfill certain some of the prerequisites, like database procedures, as in the classes that act as a container of AMDP, have to and it must implement a so-called marker interface called if AMDP marker HDB. So your answer is yes or no now. Just by this addition will you identify, or both of these will help us to identify? Yes or no? Yes, both. One important point that the classes which will contain this AMDP method with the database specific script have to contain the marker interface, if AMDP marker HDB, and to add to that, your AMDP method has to have an addition by database procedure. So that's it. You know that any class which has a marker interface, if AMDP marker HDB and one of its methods has the keyword by database procedure, is an AMDP class. Stored procedure, Manikanta, is basically your HANA specific artifact, wherein you write your SQL script native code in your HANA development. It's basically an artifact which is related to HANA as a developer, not with an ABAP. So whenever stored procedures are basically where you write your entire SQL queries to achieve your objective when you do a bottom to up approach, where you write your entire code in your SQL script and consume the same in a calculation view or in an ABAP object. So just to give you a small information. Okay. So two important points that I told you, that database procedure which are managed by ABAP can only be defined in the classes that implements the marker interface if AMDP marker HDB. Please note down this very important point. Without this marker interface, it will not be able to understand it's an AMDP class. And second point, that the body of the AMDP method cannot be empty. Now, let's understand the syntax first, then we move on to create our first AMDP. Let me do an F5. Okay. So, please make a note of this syntax, what I'm showing you. Anyways, we will write our first AMDP. This is my class definition, like how we write in ABAP, and this is my class implementation. Okay. So, class definition and class implementation. So, as I told you, an AMDP is implemented in an AMDP class with a regular static method or a static method or an instance method in any visibility section. Okay, that is, it can be either public, private or protected. So, and the most important part that I was telling you, marker interface with SAP HANA DB as a database type. If underscore AMDP underscore marker underscore HDB HANA database. That's why I said marker interface with SAP HANA DB as a database type. Two methods. It can be either instance method or a static method. You can use any one of the same. Then coming to the class implementation part, herein you will write the logic for the AMDP method. Method, whatever name you are specifying, by database procedure, for database type, language, as in what database language you are using, options, the database options, using database entity, view or AMDP class. And here the entire logic of the implementation of the procedure will be there. Now the important point is that here if you see, I have used certain additions. First one we already discussed that we need to use this addition to make it understand that it's an AMDP method, right? By database procedure. Now the additions that I need to add for, what does this mean? That it specifies the database on which the AMDP can run. So as of now it runs on the HANA database, right? So we write here we write HDB, which basically stands for SAP HANA database, and as of now currently it is the only supported value. So for the value will be here HDB. Then your language, it will specify the language of the implementation. So guys, a simple question now. Now since the database type is HDB, what will be the answer for this language? What do we need to fill up here? Can anyone answer? What do we need to fill up here? Yes, right Naren, right Danny. We need to fill up SQL script here because it has to be specific to your database, and as of now that's only the currently available value. Now next point, options. So options, this is intended for additional settings. Currently here only read only is supported. Okay, before we move further, one very important point is that AMDP gives you the option and feasibility for both read and update. If you want to update, you can use AMDP as well, and obviously read is to anyways there. So that is a big feasibility that you get. If you want to update your database records and all, you can make use of AMDP as well, unlike your CDS view. Unlike your CDS view, AMDP can be used for both fetching records and for modifying or updating records. So that's why the options that you get here for external HANA databases and all, you need to make use of DBCO or you need to make use of ABAP database connectivity. You either need to make use of the concept of ADBC or DBCO. So options here as of now, there is only one value called read only. So a simple question to all of you, if I use read only, can I do write operations by making use of AMDP? If I use read only, can I do modify or update operations by making use of AMDP? Yes or no? Yes. Mirko says yes. Willie says yes. What about others? See, the name says read only. So what does read only mean? You will be able to read records only, right? So if you want to write any data or update or modify any records to your database, you should not use this options read only. This options read only will only come into picture if you want to read the data from your database. Is it clear, Willie and Mirko? Now coming to the last point, that is using. If you see here, I have specified database entity or view or AMDP class. So this is required if the method implementation uses objects from your ABAP dictionary. As of now, transparent tables and dictionary views are supported. Okay, you cannot use CDS views here. You cannot use CDS views here because CDS views are not supported here as of now. So if you want to make use of a CDS view in an AMDP, what you have to use then? Any answers? If I want to make use of a CDS view here, what do I need to use then? Any answer? Anybody can answer me? Yes, SQL view name, right? Because it has got a corresponding SQL view. So, and anyway, SQL view is a representation of my database object, right? So, SQL view, serious SQL view, or ABAP dictionary artifacts, as in like the transparent tables and the database views, or your MDP classes. So, is this very much clear to all of you? Because this syntax you need to keep in mind. Up to this point, is it clear to all of you? Great. So let's create our first AMDP, right? Excited to create your first AMDP? If any one of you hasn't created, fine. So for AMDP creation, go to new. What do we need to choose here? ABAP class, right? Because I told you it's like a normal ABAP class only. Choose ABAP class. Give AMDP demo learning. Okay. Great. So now we will write everything under the public section. Okay, because I want the visibility to be across all objects. So types, I'll declare a table type tp underscore Mara, type table of Mara. Okay. One important point that I told that I have to specify the interfaces, right? So interfaces if underscore mdp underscore marker underscore hdb. Give the interfaces. Then methods. I'll create a instance method here. So methods get underscore material detail. Okay. Then importing. Here we have to use pass by value. It doesn't understand pass by reference. So importing value Mackner type Mara Mackner. Okay. And what do I export? Exporting value. Exporting your Mara records type tt underscore Mara. Now guys, a simple question to all of you. I give type table type tt underscore Mara and I declare the types here. Can't I give type table of Mara here? Will it accept type table of Mara? Yes or no? Just I want to know. Any guesses? Hello, are you there? So let me show you what will happen if I give type table of Mara. Type, if I give Mara, okay, type table of Mara, okay. Can you see the error here? Unable to interpret Mara. So I cannot, while using AMDP, this is an important point that you need to make note of, that when you are using the exporting table type, okay, this and you are specifying type table of, you cannot make use of your ABAP dictionary objects here or the database tables and all. You need to make use of type table type operator only. So type, not table of, because already I have made this type table of Mara. So type tt underscore Mara. Now the other important point is that I have created this method, right? So in AMDP class, this method has to be implemented now. So now method get material detail. So now whatever I need to write, by database procedure for HANA database language, SQL script, because by database procedure for database type, language, database language type, then options, because I want to fetch read-only records. Options read-only, using I want to fetch the data from Mara. That's it. And end method. Now again an error will come that your body of an AMDP method cannot be empty. Now see here how will I write. So when where I want to specify the data type expt underscore Mara, right? Exporting underscore Mara equals to, now here your native SQL script starts. So select asterisk from Mara, okay, Into clause here you don't need to write, where Matner equals to, so I need to specify the importing parameter here, and this importing parameter I am using it here as a local object, so I need to specify a colon here, imp underscore Matner and mandate. If you want to specify the mandate as in the client variable, you can make use of this operator, session underscore context, and specify the client. It will take the current client. And put a semicolon. Here there is no period. Remember, in SQL script, ending of a select query will be through semicolon, not a period. Okay. Second point, here I don't have to use select blah 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 into something. Here it will work as a right hand side, whatever value you use here, automatically this will be mapped to the local variable which I am using here. So I am using expt underscore Mara as my exporting variable. So here it will be passed to select asterisk from Mara, where Matner equals to imp underscore Matner. So since I am using this here as a local variable here, so I have to use a colon, and mandate equals to this. So this way, now I'll try to do a syntax check. Control F2, Control F3, okay, and done. So now your AMDP class is created. Now your AMDP class is created. Anyone of has any doubt in this part while creation of this AMDP class? Any doubts? Okay, now I will consume this AMDP class because this is my importing value. I told you for exporting it will not accept, there is a restriction. But for importing I am giving type Mara Matner. Is it clear, Vinayak? Okay, now this is my AMDP class. Okay, how do I need to consume it? Okay, now let me show you. Now I will ask you, I'll see how far you remember those modern ABAP syntaxes. Let me create a report. How to consume AMDP. So first thing that I need to specify is parameters, because I have to pass a material number. P Matner, type your Matner. Okay. Now, how do I create an instance of my AMDP class? Answer please first. Let me recall how far do you remember. What syntax do I need to write here? Yes, right. So can I use inline declaration? Yes or no? Can I use inline declaration to instantiate? Yes. Okay, right. So data lr underscore new equals to new z. What is the class name? Let me take from here. ZAMDP demo learning. Open braces, close braces. Okay. Full stop. Now calling the AMDP method, what I'll do, I've created the instance of this class, AMDP instance operator. Sorry. LR underscore new. Now see, automatically when I do control space, the signature will come. It will show you the marker interface. That class implements an at least one AMDP method has to include this interface. Can you see this? This also shows as per the documentation. I need to now get the data as per the method. So do a shift and signature, enter, shift and enter to get the signature. And now here I have to pass the material number, right? And I'll uncomment the same. And here what I'll do, can I use an inline declaration here to get the data? Yes or no? Can I do an inline declaration here to get the data? No. Why no, Aditi? This is not a function module. Why, Naren? No. Let me show you now. LT underscore data. Done. Why no, Naren? Naren and Aditi, is the concept clear? I understand. Not an issue. Fine. Now, I got the data. Now I'll show you the output. So this is my AMDP method call. Calling AMDP method. Now to show the output, what I'll do, I'll use the CASLV class. Okay. Try and try. Now inside this call method CL underscore SLV underscore table, I'll use the factory class, factory signature. So under the, I don't need the exporting parameters, under the importing parameter R underscore SLV underscore table, I'll use an inline declaration to get my factory instance class created, and in T underscore table I'll pass LT underscore data. Now catch this not required. I'll uncomment the same and do shift and F1, control and F2, control and F3. And now for finally displaying, I'll use LR underscore SALV and use display, open bracket, close bracket, and done. Okay, control F2, control F3. Okay, now let me show you the output. System got stuck up. Let's wait for a few seconds or minutes. Okay, now let me pass a material number. Yes, see here, the entire data came. The entire Mara records with specific to that material number came. Can you see? Now let me show you via debugger. Okay. Now let me put a breakpoint. Now first of all, let me show you by calling it from SAP GUI how it will come and hit the AMDP debugger. First of all, to trigger an AMDP debugger, where is my exact code written? Here, right? Here is my exact code written. So put a double click here, then right click. Can you see here? Restart AMDP debugger, terminate AMDP debugger. Just to play safe, AMDP debugger has been activated. Okay, I'll show you again. Disable the same where your exact SQL script or exact logic is written, because this is all declaration and all. So it will not be, you will not be able to debug the same. Where your exact logic is written, double click here. Then if you just put your cursor here, it will show you AMDP breakpoint confirmed. But better restart AMDP debugger. It will say that AMDP debugger has been activated. Now I'll show you by calling this from SAP GUI first. because anyways you have seen from here, and anyways it will not be new because from eclipse to eclipse only it will happen. Let me show you from here. Okay, do SU38. I paste the same. Now I put a breakpoint here. Okay. Now let me execute the same. Let me pass a value. The breakpoint gets triggered. Now, very important point. At this stage, suppose if I do F5, what will happen? This will go here. Okay. Now if I do F5, see what happens. See here, this starts blinking. Okay. And it automatically comes here. Can you see? Automatically comes to this piece of line. So it comes here. Now here if you want to debug, in AMDP there will be no concept of F5 here. Please remember this. There will be no concept of F5 here. Here. There will be no concept of F5. Can you see here? There will be no concept of F5 here. Okay. What you need to do is an F6. Do an F6. Do an F6, it automatically comes to the end of this method. Now, what you do is double click on this exporting underscore Mara and it will load the data and you get the data here. This one. You will get the row count as 1. Current object schema is your SAP HANA database. Current object name as in your class name and whatever Matner imported you have given imported. Here it will show you the importing parameter and this is your row count as in the 1 records and your exporting Mara table type. Now once you have got the data, again do an F6 here. It will come from here. This will get triggered. Do a F5 here. It will come here and you do an F8, you will get the data. This is one way. Let me show you the other way now. I again get triggered. Now instead of doing F5, directly hit an F6. Instead of doing F5, directly hit an F6. So now see what will happen. If I do an F6, directly this gets triggered. Do a F6 here. It will come to the end of the method. Do export Mara. Double click on this. The data gets loaded. Once done, do an F6. Again your control resumes back to your SAP GUI and you do an F8. Is it clear, guys? Both the ways going inside the AMDP class method. Stephanie, I'm just showing you a syntax. You are confusing with both the concepts now. Basically, I will not write a simple select query to get the data from Mara. I'm just showing you how to write. When it will come to much more example, suppose you have to get data from CDSDR, CDPOS, check with EKKO, EKPO, check with some other database, 6, 7, 8 tables, and the load is highly, your modern ABAP OpenSQL will completely fail. Your modern ABAP OpenSQL will completely fail as in because it will consume a lot of time, not completely fail as in what I mean is that your performance your report will be a crap because the performance will be very slow. So that's why your AMDP will come in very handy if you want to put your complete load on the database rather than putting those high database loads on your application server. Is it clear, Stephanie? And also sometimes some requirements will come wherein you have to, it will feel that it is better and easier to write the query using native HANA SQL rather than using ABAP OpenSQL. Suppose if you want to use, there will be certain requirements like if you want to do a self join from a select query which is not applicable in your ABAP OpenSQL. If you want to do a self join with another SQL query, As in, I want to not do a join from a table. I want to do a self join from another select query. Suppose, example, I want to get the data from MatDoc and I want to do a join with again a MatDoc. This is my requirement, suppose. This is not possible a select query with a join on another select query in ABAP OpenSQL, but this is possible in your native HANA SQL. Native HANA SQL, remember, gives you more power as compared to your ABAP OpenSQL. Some things which are not feasible via your ABAP OpenSQL, feel free to move your code to your AMDP and get your work done in a much more simpler way. Now is it clear, Stephanie? Why will you go with AMDP and not with your modern ABAP OpenSQL? You understood the difference, right? Okay. Now, another important point. Now that this I have done, I'll go back to my ABAP perspective. Now, I'll remove this breakpoint. Suppose if I comment this out, if I comment this interfaces. Okay. Now see the error. Database procedures managed by ABAP can only be defining classes. This already I told you earlier. Without this interface marker and by database procedure, how is your ABAP repository going to understand that it's an AMDP class? Does this answer your question? Who was asking me? Someone was asking me this question. Ram, does this answer your question? What will happen if I comment this out? Ram, are you there? Remember this point we had discussed before starting of the discussion on AMDP, that this is one of my identifier and this is one of my identifier. So if I comment this out, how is the system going to understand that this is my AMDP class? That's why this marker is very much important, and even I've specified here, if you see, just a second. Database procedures managed by ABAP can only be defined in the classes that implements the marker interface if AMDP marker HDB. So this is my AMDP method. It can only be contained in the class which consists of this marker. That's why it is very much important. Now, another important point. Should I ask you a simple question, guys? Can you edit this class in SE24? Because I am telling that it's like normal ABAP class only. See, if you see this report, when I consume this AMDP class method, can we edit this class in SE24? Yes or no? If you are saying no, why? If you are saying no, why? Anyone answers, please? Any answer? So see here what happens. I can, this is my report, right? I'm able to edit. Now let me navigate to this class. One important point which I told you, if you see all these parameters by default are pass by value. If you don't specify this pass by value, it will throw you in syntax. Okay. Now, if I go here and if I try to edit this, see here. This contains stored procedures and cannot be changed in SAP. Good. Can you see? So that's why I added that for working with AMDPs and SAP, we need Eclipse ADT only. Without that, you cannot create or edit or activate your AMDP. So before I give you some time to create your first AMDP, let's understand some of the restrictions that apply while using an AMDP method. First restriction is that in your AMDP here, if you see, we have got importing or exporting. We can have changing as well, but returning parameters cannot be used. And why should we even worry about returning parameter when you already have importing, exporting or changing parameter? Okay, returning parameter cannot be used. First point. These parameters have to be passed by value only. See, if I remove this value, okay, if I remove this value, an error will come. See here, if I remove this value, see here, In an AMDP context, the parameter IMP underscore MATNER of the method cannot be defined as a reference parameter. You cannot define the same as a reference parameter. So it has to be passed by value only. This is one of the second restriction. Third restriction, these parameters can only, these exporting parameters can only, or the importing parameters can only be either a table type or a scalar one. That means only the variables, structures and simple internal table types can be used. You cannot use deep structures or complex table types. That is table in a table. Please make sure that you never use this deep table types or deep structures. Next point. Next point, that whenever, if you are using any ABAP data dictionary object here as a part of your select queries and all, to do a computation and all, you have to use the same here. You have to specify the same. If I don't specify the same here, see here, if I don't specify the same here, it will say that Mara is unknown. Mara is unknown. So that's why using Mara, you have to specify whatever dictionary objects or whatever the SQL view or database view or whatever AMDP methods classes you are using, you have to specify the same here. So these are some of the restrictions that you need to make a note of while using AMDP and consuming the same in your ABAP reports. Up to this point, is it clear, guys? Jasmine, yes, we can do all kind of complex calculations in your AMDPs. To make it very much simple, if you get a requirement wherein you find that it is not easy to achieve the same through your modern ABAP OpenSQL, or even for fetching the CDS is also failing, and you find that your native HANA SQL can easily give you the requirement answer, you basically go to your, your AMDP classes and methods. No, you don't have to use comma. You don't have to use comma here. If you are using multiple tables, I'll show you next the scenario that I'll show you will, wherein I'll be using a table and also I'll be using a AMDP method. There is no comma separator here. If you want to use database table 1 space database table 2 space database table 3 space database view 1 space AMDP class 1 space, so on and so forth. No, Danny. See, don't confuse with the demo that as example I'm giving. It's not for reading one table. Suppose example, just to give a small example. Okay, I create a local variable lt underscore mara 1. I get the data. Then lt underscore mara 2. I do some more processing. Lt underscore mara 3. I do a processing of that internal table with a join. So many SQL queries will keep on coming, and ultimately whatever is the output, that is in the exporting value, whatever you give, ultimately you pass and map the same. You will get more clarity when I show you the second sample, as in it will be much more bit complicated than this. Is it clear, Danny? So I give you 10 minutes from now. Create your first AMDP class. Even if you have created a one, it's not. It's better to have one more hands-on. Create your AMDP class. Create a report. Consume the same. And please use modern syntax like this only. No type reference to create object and all. Okay. Fine. 10 minutes is fine, guys. Or you need more time? Are you there? Okay. Also one request. Don't copy paste the same. Please write it so that you understand if you make any syntax mistake or something. It will hardly take time because automatically your content assist will come into picture. You write a keyword, automatically your content assist will come. So 838, 848. Okay, fine then. Create your AMDP class, method, and use the same in your report. Guys, I have paused sharing for 2-3 minutes. Okay. Continue with your AMDP class creation and consumption and report. I'll reshare the same. Guys, is it done? Hello. Okay, great. Also debug once, okay. Because mostly what happens now when you're debugging, you keep on pressing F5 and nothing happens. And then timeout happens and you don't get anything. So please make a note that there is no concept of F5 with respect to AMDP debugger in ADT. You have to do F6. Yeah, ABAP 7.4 Service Pack 5. Basically, you are debugging in ADT. From your SAP GUI, you are going to ADT. Did you get my point, Kiran? Anyone wants to ask any questions? I have put you on unmuted mode. You can unmute yourself and ask me. Anyone wants to ask any question? Yeah, Nanit. Yeah, we have separate set of statements or syntaxes for SQL script, right? I will show you one use case for the second question. You will be able to understand where we need to use AMDP. AMDP is HANA specific syntax. So Naren, you need to answer me now. When you are writing HANA specific syntax, can you use any ABAP artifact code in AMDP method? Yes or no? You answer me the same. No, right? So you got your third answer. So second answer, I'll show you through our demo sample, which are right from a real-time requirement perspective. I'll show you in the PPT. Does this answer all your questions, Naren? Naren, are you there? See, SQL script, it's like requirement specific. Whenever you get requirement, it's like I have explored help.sap.com and accordingly I have achieved the same. So it's like requirement specific only. Otherwise, see, whatever operations that you are using, concat, upper, lower, ltrim, case, all those remains the same, like how you are using in CDS. Okay. But all those remains the same, like upper, case and case, switch, sorry, not switch, your ltrim, your cast, all those will remain the same. Almost all will remain the same, as in like how you have understood in CDS. Some additional things will be there, like when in ABAP we use up to n rows. Here in HANA you cannot use up to n rows. You need to use select top 1 row, 50 rows, 20 rows, 2 rows. As the assignment that I have prepared, you will be able to get much more comfortable with your native HANA SQL script, as in the today's assignment that I prepared. Does it answer your queries, Naren? Anyone wants to ask any question? Meko, Aldo, Willie, Sudha, Sanskriti, Vimla, anyone? Anuja, anyone? And I hope by now all of you have created your first AMDP class method. Even if not first, like you did a hands-on today now, you consume the same and you have debugged the same. Are you all on the same lines, like up to these 3 points? Or do you need more time? If you are done, then we can proceed further. Yeah, Kiran, I'll create one more MDP class method, no? Then I'll again debug the same. Is it okay, Kiran? I'll create one more complex MDP now, wherein I'll call an MDP inside an MDP. And then we will debug the same. So somebody give me zmod02. Yeah, Jasmine, tell me. You have not created anything, just this one, right? Jasmine, I didn't get your issue. Yeah, maybe you would have lost your connection. Fine, you can again retry the same. If you have any doubts, kindly ping the same in the group, or you can again ping it here also. Okay, is it fine, Jasmine? Okay, fine. So, so one question: when does AMDP execute in your underlying database? Yeah, Jasmine, I can see your code. So what is the query? I'll also, if anybody of you have any doubt, please post it across the group so that everybody can get a feel of what the query is. Okay, fine. So when does an AMDP execute in your underlying database? So if you see, when an AMDP is executed, the ABAP kernel basically calls the database procedure which was deployed in your underlying database, and hence you are getting your output. So AMDP makes this database procedure available at runtime in your database, because I'm not creating a stored procedure, right? It is getting deployed at runtime. So AMDP makes this procedure available at runtime in your database. So database procedures are created when they are called by AMDP for the first time. Remember the statement that database procedures are created when they are called by AMDP for the first time. This is called lazy approach. So it's basically we are deferring the initialization of the creation of this object until the point at which the object is needed. So this lazy loading concept is used for AMDP. So if you want to make any change in the source code of your database procedure, any of the dependent objects, then again the new version of the stored procedure will be created and old versions will be deleted asynchronously. And as I already told you, from SAP NetWeaver 7.4 service pack onwards, AMDP can be created in ABAP and Eclipse. That is, we need to be in the ABAP perspective. Okay. And as we already saw, though we can view the class and methods in SE24 in the ABAP workbench, but we cannot edit them in GUI. So you need EDT in Eclipse to create, edit and activate your AMDP. And the best part of using AMDP is that as an ABAPer, you need to worry only about your ABAP artifacts. You do not bother about the database artifacts which are getting deployed or created, because automatically the system will handle these. Okay, so AMDPs are basically defined at your ABAP layer, but they are completely dependent on your underlying database, so that they can optimize the database in use at the fullest. And moreover, as they are database dependent, the implementation language will obviously differ based on the database that you are using, right? Because we clearly specify by database procedure for HANA database, as in the database type and the language. If this changes, this will also change. So SQL script is the main implementation language for HANA database. So playing with AMDP in HDB is same as the implementation of SQL script in your ABAP programs. Sorry, as in your ABAP artifacts. So there is one standard AMDP class which you should make a note of. I am just pinging the same CL underscore CS underscore BOM underscore AMDP. Okay. If you just select the same, and search for this class, this global class will give you a very clear picture of how to write native HANA SQL scripts. And also somebody was asking me for reference. This will serve as a very good reference for you to refer to whenever you are dealing with AMDPs and all. Give me a few minutes before it loads. Guys, if you are still practicing the same, please it's a request that do not practice the same now, because the system will be then slow. You can practice the same again later. See, performance wise it will not be an impact. You can have multiple AMDP methods from a class. This is what I'll show you now, Naren. It's like a normal class method. You can have how many multiple methods you want. Even you can have normal ABAP methods and AMDP methods in your same class. Both can also coexist. What happened to the system? Okay, this is your standard class which I was telling you. Can you see they have used this interface CPMDB marker HDB? See, you can refer to this entire class, like how they are doing local declaration and all. See here, local declaration and all. You can refer to the standard class for getting an insight on how how they are writing the SQL queries and all, like how we write in ABAP, from inner join, left outer join, again this ET change number. You will get a complete fair idea of how. See, case and case. I was using when 2 decimal round. So Naren, you wanted a reference, right? How to make use of your native SQL queries and all. See here, you will get a clear reference here. Case. I told you majority of the things will be same like we used in CDS or modern ABAP SQL. Only few things will change which is specific to your specific SAP HANA as a database. Otherwise it will remain the same. Are you getting an idea, Naren, by referring to this class? So please make a note of this class CLCOS BOM AMDP. I'll even specify the same. So CL underscore CS underscore BOM underscore AMDP is your reference standard class for AMDP. Okay. Now I'll show you one more requirement. I'll close this. I will use this same to create 2 AMDP methods. One will be private and I will be using the same. Just give me a second, guys. Okay. So this types, I'll move it to my private section, and this methods I will move it to my private section. Now in my public section I'll create a local table types begin of ty underscore mara underscore data end of ty underscore mara underscore data. Now here I'll specify material underscore number, type Matner created on type ERSTA, then material underscore type method, then your material underscore description, type MAKTX and material underscore group, type MATAL. Okay, what is my basically requirement is that this is one of my AMDP methods. Okay, I will get the raw data from this AMDP method. Like I'm just showing you, just try to understand like what is like how I'm going to use. I will try to get the raw data from this AMDP method and do further manipulation on this data by in another AMDP method. Okay, you understood the requirement, right? Did you all get the requirement? What I'm trying to do here, from one of the AMDP method, I'll get the data in this export underscore Mara, and I will use another AMDP method to do some manipulation on the top of the data by using a join. Is the requirement clear to all? What I'm trying to do here? Okay, fine. So now end of TY Mara data. Now I will create a table type TT underscore material underscore details, type table of TY underscore Mara underscore data. Okay, now I'll use the same signature. I'll change something there. Now get material info, importing value IAM underscore matner, type Mara matner, and expt underscore Mara 1, type TT underscore material underscore details. Okay, now so this private AMDP method is already implemented, right? Now what should be my next step, guys? Can anyone tell me what should be my next step as per this error, that implementation missing for this? What should be my next step? I need to implement this method, right? So I'll implement this method. So method, now what is the method name? Get material info. Get material info. Okay, same by database procedure for HTTP language, SQL script, options, read only. Now using. Okay, now answer me, guys. What do I need to specify for using here? What do I need to specify here for using? Tell me. I'll put it here. What do I need to specify here for using after using? Anybody can answer me? So my requirement is that I need the material description from your table MAKT, and I need to fetch this raw data from this AMDP method. So what should be after using? Mara and MAKT. Why Mara and MAKT? Already I am using Mara to get the data here. Why do I need to specify Mara here? I need to get the data by this AMDP method and MAKT. What do I need to specify? You people are somewhat close, not exactly. So I need to specify this class and this method here. So ZAMDP demo learning, then your get material detail, okay, and MAKT. These two I need to specify here, and method. Now that I have specified here, now I need to specify the logic inside this. So while calling another AMDP method inside an AMDP method, you need to follow certain protocols. First is call, then the entire thing will come inside double quotes. Then what will the entire thing come inside double quotes, as in this entire this part in caps. So ZAMDP underscore demo underscore learning. Okay. Then your method name get underscore matrl underscore detail. So in this way I will call this method to get the data. Now open bracket, close bracket. So here what all I am passing here, the parameter is imp underscore matner. Okay, so imp underscore matner. Then I will pass the value from this AMDP method. So it will be im underscore matner. Im underscore matner. Then comma expt underscore mara1. Expt, sorry, not expt, expt underscore mara. Expt underscore mara, and I will get the data in lt underscore mara. Then a semicolon. Now what is pending now? I have called this to get the data from this AMDP method. Now what I'll do the manipulation on the same. So when I'll do the manipulation on the same, I need to pass this to this table type exporting value expt underscore mara1. Now if you see this error, same out table value is not assigned. Please focus. You will get an error like this. That same out table variable. This is my out table variable for this method, right? That get material info. So out table variable is expt underscore mara1. I have not assigned. Hence it is showing me this error. Then next error, that MAKT is not needed because I haven't used the same. So what do you need to do? Expt underscore mara1 equals to, now select. Now what you need to do, I want to show the trim material number. So trim, ltrim, now a dot matner comma 0. The alias name has to exactly match as this, otherwise it will throw an error, because this is the table type that I've created as material underscore number, comma a dot ersta as created underscore on, comma, then go here. Now here a dot matat as material underscore type, comma, then I want the material description in uppercase. So upper, then here b dot maktx. Okay, so here there is no such issues that you need to put space and all. Even if you don't put space or put space, it doesn't matter. So as material underscore descriptn, material description, comma a dot matkl as material underscore, but do they specify material underscore group? Okay, now that from here, now see the important point that I will do here. So this data, I am calling this AMDP class method here, right? So this data I am getting in lt underscore mara. So what do I need to specify here? expt underscore mara or lt underscore mara? What do I need to specify here? Tell me. lt underscore mara. And why I am putting in colon? It is a temporary local variable object which I have used here. To access the temporary local variable object in SAP HANA as a database with respect to SQL script, you need to make use of this syntax. That's why this im underscore matner and lt underscore mara, I put a colon before that. So lt underscore mara inner join makt as b, and I have specified as a here. And one more important thing, in ABAP, when you write joins, you don't use the dot, you use tilde operator. But in SQL script, if you give tilde operator, it will not accept it. It understands dot only. So as b on. Now A dot Matner equals to B dot Matner and B dot Sprash equals to E. Okay, now this is done. For terminating the same, put a semicolon. So this is done. Now do a shift and F1. Now do a control and F2. Now do a control and F3. Now let me call this in my report. So what I'll do here, get material details I have done. Now Z AMDP learning, this will remain the same, right? Because my class is not changing. I've created an instance. I'll call this P underscore Matner and I'm passing the data. Now let me execute the same. Oh. One mistake that I did. Okay, guys, you did not tell me one mistake. I have given here get material detail. Okay, and here in the public section, what is the method? Get material info. So what should I specify there? Right, all public method, right. See here, get material info. So now the rest will remain the same from exporting up to this. Pass P underscore Matner here and under expt underscore Mara, rather than that I will use expt underscore Mara. And from here I'll delete it. Okay, shift and F1, control and F2, control and F3. Now let me do an F8, execute the same, pass the material number and see here. Material, trimmed material number created on the material type, the material description in uppercase and the material group. Can you see? Okay, now let me debug the same. So while I debug, let me again debug from here. Prior to that, I'll put a breakpoint here. So now when I put a breakpoint here, let me put a breakpoint on this point. Okay, and restart AMDP debugger. AMDP debugger has been activated. Let's go here. So Kiran, once again I'm debugging now. You can focus now. So I'll put a breakpoint here. I'll pass a value. Now I execute. So now either you can do an F5 and go inside and do it, or directly do an F6. I directly do an F6. Now this here it triggers in your ADD, the AMDP debugger. Now I am at this point, right? So now do an F6. Now when you do an F6, your LT Mara, see here the data gets loaded. Because this is called this line of statement. This line of statement, it got the data here. Now in expt underscore Mara, now when you do an F6, now you do an F6, I am here, expt underscore Mara 1. Now see the material number created on material type, material description and the material group. And when I do an F8, again it comes back to my GUI here and I do an F8 and I get the data here. Is it clear, Kiran? How to debug the same? You had a doubt?
Yeah, Kabir, with my current client, right, wherever I am working, this AMDP debugger...
I'm not able to hear you, Kiran. Your voice is very low.
Is it clear now?
Yeah. Tell me.
Is there any settings for this AMDP debugger? Because it was not working in my current client actually.
In your specific system or in SAP art system?
No, in our not SAP art system, with my other project system. Okay.
So first thing that you need to check whether your system is on ABAP 7.4 SP5 or not. Second point, what is your ADT version? Those two will matter.
Oh, ADT version is Neo.
That's what. You are using the Neo one. Okay. There was something called Neo, Oxygen and Photon and all. Okay. So if you are using those also, then it will matter.
Oh, okay. So the latest one would work. That's what.
From 2019-06 or 2019-09, because in every 3 months they made a release. 2019-12, 2020-03, 2020-06. You can check from 2019 onwards, all will work.
Oh, okay. Okay, got it.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Thank you.
Fine then.
But you have not done any specific settings for this debugger, right?
No. I just showed you, right? This here, see, it will automatically show you AMDP breakpoint confirmed. And if you just want to refresh the same, restart or terminate the AMDP debugger. That's it. Nothing else.
Oh, okay. Okay. This is useful. Okay.
Fine. Just double click or right click. Now I want to terminate. Terminate the same. See?
Okay.
That's it. My AMDP debugger has been terminated. And you can see it changed from green to gray. Double click on the same, disabled.
Okay.
Understood?
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
So guys, did you understand this? How did I call this? One very important point is that if I make it small, it will throw an error. This inside the double quotes, your AMDP class and method has to be under double quotes and it has to be under caps. It has to be in uppercase, otherwise it will throw an error. First point. Second point, whenever you are using local these variables in your AMDP SQL script syntaxes, you need to make use of a colon, like how in ABAP you need to use that escape post sequence key. Here you need to make use of colon. Other important points, you select, no need to write into and all. That a SQL script doesn't understand. You need to make use of the variable here. And the third important point is that whatever local table type you have created and the field names that you have given, it has to exactly match the same. Otherwise, error will come that this has not been assigned or something. Is this point clear, guys? How to use an AMDP method inside an AMDP method? So only Bimla understood. Okay. To all. Now, many of you, Stephanie and all, you had a doubt, like how do I understand by seeing the requirement and all. Okay. So I have just kept a sample requirement which we did. Just first analyze the code. Just give me a minute. First analyze this code. Then you will be able to understand why I used AMDP for the same. First analyze this code. See here, I have done an inner join with a self join on the same table. If you see this inner join up to this braces part, this is the self join on the same table. Okay. And again I have done a left outer join by making use of the concept of some other table and by making use of the concept of partitioning. This kind of SQL queries you cannot write in modern ABAP OpenSQL because of certain restrictions that are yet there. So that is the reason to use the concept of self join and to use the concept of partitioning and left outer join with this data. Hence, I have made use of the concept of AMDP. Guys, did you see this query? Stephanie, now is your doubt somewhat clear? When should we go for an AMDP? Naren, you are asking me a query. Is it clear now with this type of queries? I can understand it may look complex to some of you right now, but once you start doing this, it will not look much complex. This is basically the concept of self-join with that same table is used here, along with the concept of partitioning and all, so that I do not have, I can, example, suppose the requirement is that on the corresponding date and the corresponding time, you want the highest record corresponding to that, as in the descending order, okay? So because of that concept and all, I have made use of the concept of partitioning and the self-join and all. Naren, is your query clear with respect to this? So Naren and Stephanie, do you like this query, or what? Any inputs from your end with respect to this query? Yeah, it looks complex to digest, I can understand. So tell me one thing, prior to AMDP and CDS and modern ABAP OpenSQL coming into picture, Naren, a question to you, how would you have achieved this? Write this as a different select query, write this as a different select query, or you would have made use of for all entries in, got the data, then made usage of this, then again for all entries in, then use sort by to filter the data, then get the read table index 1 to get this data, right? Am I right or am I wrong? So you don't need to do all those things now. Now you can do all this at one shot with your AMDP native HANA SQL. This is one of the biggest changes that you are getting as a part of ABAP on HANA code push down. I hope now it answers some of your queries to some extent that you had. So is everybody, so is this what you are doing, like 2 steps? Yeah, I would have used for all entries in, broken this up using for all entries in to get the data up to this point. Then for this partitioning and all, where I'm using the concept of over partition by and all, I would have used the concept of classical ABAP programming. I don't have to use the same, Danny. Right, Danny, you will break up this requirement in classical ABAP programming. If I go backward compatible, or as in if we go in the reverse way, you will achieve it in the same way, right? But though it will look complex, but it is very much faster and easier. See, the processing time, keep in consideration now the processing time that you save. Everything for code push down. Nothing more at the ABAP application server. Okay. Fine. Now coming to the important points that you need to consider while handling AMDP is that the first point, as I already told you earlier, that your both AMDP method and non-AMDP method can exist in the same AMDP class. If you don't specify by database procedure for HDB, language, SQL script and all, it will not be an AMDP method. So both AMDP and non-AMDP method can exist, that is, it can coexist in the same AMDP class. I had already showed you, you cannot edit an AMDP class from SAP GUI. It will throw you an error message. Third important point, as I had already showed you, that while observing the importing and exporting parameters, it needs to be passed by value only. There is a strict limitation to that. And when you implement the interface, if underscore AMDP underscore marker HDB, it doesn't add any interface methods, right? It simply flags the code as an AMDP class. So when you are handling your exporting parameter within the table types, you have to specify the type table of statements. Like what I mean is that here I cannot specify type table of. You have to create a local table type, create the type table of. you cannot specify the type table of here. So the type table of statements as a part of your exporting parameters are not allowed. Either you use DDIC table type or use a type statement and declare a table type prior to method declaration, like how we did here. Statements in SQL script are terminated with colon, as we had already seen this. Sorry, semicolon, not with a colon or a period. Okay. Then you have already seen that AMDP method can be called easily without having to create an instance of this method, because when I call this AMDP method and class inside this method, I did not have to create any instance or anything of this. It can be called directly without having to create an instance. Next important point is that whenever you are doing a select statement to generate your internal tables, you do not have to write into and all and so on. It's just that it will be on the right hand side of your expression, and whatever local variable you are giving here, the object will be, the values will be assigned the same. And the results which are stored in these internal objects can again be reused. It can again be reused, like how we reused here, lt_mara, we reuse the same here. Then, as I have already told you, there is no into clause. Results are retrieved by using select as an expression on the RHS. And the last important point is that AMDP methods which you are calling inside an AMDP body have to be inside your double quotes. If you remove these double quotes, it will give an error. See here. If I remove this, see here. Letter the span lines, see here. It will start giving you error. See, incorrect syntax near C. It will give you incorrect syntax. So, first of all, it has to be inside your double quotes. Okay, and they have to be along with the class to which they belong. That is, the method and class both has to come together. And whenever you are calling an AMDP class method in a procedure body, then they must be addressed with double quotes and in the uppercase. Are all these restrictions clear, guys? Please keep in mind all these restrictions while making use of AMDP. Is it clear, guys? The restrictions? So now let me ask you a question. Can anyone tell me some of the basic differences between CDS and AMDP? The basic differences between CDS and AMDP? What could be the first difference? What could be the first difference between CDS and AMDP? AMDP is not database independent. Yes, right? AMDP, to make it simple, AMDP is database dependent, whereas CDS is database independent. What is the second point? Yes, CDS only read, whereas in AMDP read and write both. Any other point? Any other point? Yes, AMDP we have to use the native HANA SQL script only, whereas in ABAP CDS we use the ABAP OpenSQL, right? And any other point? AMDP debugger. Yeah, write is allowed in AMDP. You can update a database table and all. Other point is AMDP debugger. Stephanie, if this type of requirement comes, as I told you, how will you handle the same in CDS? How will you handle the same in CDS, Stephanie? So the statement that you are telling, you can try this out. In CDS, you will not be able to do it. The self-join will only fail because CDS works on ABAP OpenSQL. The self-join will only not work at all. The self-join will fail in both ABAP OpenSQL and in CDS. The self-join will fail completely. So we cannot completely segregate that AMDP is for database update only and CDS is for database fetch only as per the requirement. Nothing. Basically, I am doing a self join from the basis of MATLAB only. If you see here, I have specified header counter as 1 and record type as mdoc, and something called as ZZGenset, which is a G field. So I'm fetching the data from here, and here I'm doing an inner join on the basis of matdoc with this self join data, and I'm passing a where condition further here, where header counter equals to 0 and a dot record type equals to mdoc. That's it. CDS possibilities are big, but there are limitations, Stephanie. Everything cannot be achieved through CDS, or everything cannot be achieved through ABAP OpenSQL. It's as per the requirement. If a requirement where you get that it can be achieved through ABAP OpenSQL easily, and there is no reusability of that CDS, go with ABAP OpenSQL. If you are trying to create a data model and all, where if you are trying to create a data model and all, you can easily go with CDS, and if there is a reusability and all. If both of them are failing, mark my words, if both your ABAP OpenSQL and CDS are failing, then you will go with AMDP. Then you go with AMDP. Did you get my point? Suppose if example there is a very big table. Example there is a big table like EKKO and EKPO, and suppose example leave EKKO EKPO. Go to matdoc. Matdoc consists of lakhs and lakhs of records, right? Suppose you have to update something in matdoc, and if you have to update around 2 to 3 lakhs of records, will you go with modern ABAP OpenSQL, or will you go with AMDP? Which one will be faster? Can you answer me? Which one will be faster? Right, Aditi? AMDP. Because so much of records to update, you loop and do update and all. Why do you want to do at your ABAP application server when you can achieve the same at your database specific? Do at the DB level. Yes, AMDP can make use of CDS table function. This you will see in Day8, but the opposite is not possible. Yeah, Mirko, you are right. With the help of CDS table function implements an AMDP. We will see how a CDS table function makes use of an AMDP in the next week. Okay, Mirko? For making use of select options, yes, that also we will cover in the next week. There is a concept called apply filters for handling select options in AMDP. Have patience, we will cover all these concepts. Yes, Stephanie, I'll show you an example of a database update in AMDP. I'll show you a sample next week. Today we are just covering the basic concepts of AMDP. I'll show you a sample. How do we update the records with the help of AMDP? How to handle select options in AMDP? How to handle select options in CDS? All these advanced concepts we will be doing next week. Is it okay, Stephanie? Database function versus database procedure. This is for next week, Vinay. Kindly have patience for next week. You will get your answer automatically next week. Okay. So should we move to assignment discussion that is planned for this week? Up to this point, is everyone clear? AMDP syntaxes, how to create an AMDP, how to consume the same, how to call an AMDP inside an AMDP, what are the important restrictions that you need to make understand of, where is AMDP exactly executed. Are you all clear with all these points up to this point now? Fine. Let us first discuss the assignment. So, you need to create a report which will display the output with respect to the following fields of the table, SNWD_SO. So you should have sales order underscore number, buyer GUID, converted type, gross amount, unconverted type, and gross amount unconverted. As in, the gross amount underscore UC column value name is in USD, okay, and we will want to convert the same to be in INR, and the same converted value to be displayed under the column gross underscore amount. The output should be with respect to 50 records only. And I have showed you the reference output. This is my sales order number, buyer GUID. This is your converted type. This is your gross amount. This is your unconverted in USD. And this is your gross amount unconverted. Okay. This following output that I am showing you here, it has to be achieved by using AMDP class method only and not via conventional ABAP. So what is the logic that I have given you is that create a table type which will be having the fields as shown above. These are all the fields you need to create a table type. Then call this AMDP class where the entire code will be pushed onto the database, and here use the concept of AMDP with the multiple result sets. So there is a concept of one important point, Stephanie, you people were asking me, right? So CDS returns you a single result set or multiple result sets? Yes or no? Single or multiple? Which one? Now, if I want multiple result sets, how do I handle? It's like a complete data processing calculation is there, and I want multiple result sets. I will not be able to use CDS, right, Mirko? Stephanie, Naren, will I be able to use this thing? CDS, no, right? So in that case, moreover, your AMDP becomes much more on high priority. If you need multiple result sets, by doing the database processing with all kind of calculations and all these things keeping in mind, and you want a faster execution, push everything to your AMDP and get the multiple result sets. So this assignment will make you work on this multiple result sets as well. So nothing, I was fetching one result set exporting, right? You need to add one more exporting and pass the value. That's it. So while calling the AMDP class method, we need to pass INR as the target currency and the system date you need to pass. You need to pass both, that is the INR as the target currency importing and the system date. And in the AMDP method, the logic for the currency conversion should be written and loop has to be avoided. You should not use loop. Anyways, you cannot use loop. AMDP ABAP artifacts are not supported. So loop will not be come into picture. So the logic for currency conversion should be written. And it should be, this currency conversion function should be aligned with SAP SQL script HANA. Okay. In both the exporting result sets, one to contain the records having amount in USD as in the unconverted data, and the other to contain the records having amount in INR. Okay. Once we have imported the data from the class, make use of modern ABAP to mix both the set of data on the basis of their sales order number and finally display the required output as shown above. Okay. In one set of data, you need to get sales order, buyer GUID and the converted data, and in the other unconverted data, make use of modern ABAP to mix both the result sets on the basis of the sales order number and build the other internal table. Use SNWD_SO table for fetching only 50 records. Okay. And the fields used should be SO_ID, buyer GUID and gross amount. These are the three fields that you need to use for both converted and unconverted data. Are you clear with the first question, or you have any doubts? Any doubts with the first question? Anyone wants to ask any doubt or anything? Kiran, Naren, any doubts? Mirko, Aldo, Willie? Clear with the first question, right? So basically it will help you to revise your modern ABAP concepts, AMDP with multiple result sets, moreover playing around with SQL script with respect to currency conversion and how to handle all these concepts together. Okay, second question, can we debug an AMDP in SAP GUI? If no, then for debugging the same, which kind of debugger gets activated and when does it get activated? That's a very simple question I've given just to refresh your concepts. Can an AMDP class have a non-AMDP method? If yes, please show the same with a small example. Okay. Can we have select options in AMDP? This question I've given you. so that you can explore a bit. Anyways, we'll be covering this in the next class. Can we have select options in AMDP? Suppose there is a requirement wherein you want to make use of fuzzy search and use native HANA specific features such as score function, okay? And one of your developers is suggesting to go with the ABAP layer coding. Is that developer right or wrong? You need to answer me. Next question. Before AMDPs came into picture, we were using database stored procedures with respect to native HANA. So was it a bottom approach or a top-down approach? And the last question, there is a requirement wherein we have to fetch the result in a deep or complex table type. Can we proceed with AMDP for the same? Guys, are all the questions clear? This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and this main report question. Everyone is okay with all the questions, right? No doubts, nothing? Yeah, Aldo, tell me. You can speak up. Anyways, you are not on lecture mode. See, simple. This entire data, the final output, you will be getting with modern ABAP, okay? But prior to getting the modern ABAP data, what I have told that you have to export the result with multiple result sets. That multiple result set, out of which the one result set from the AMDP class method will contain the records having amount in USD, and the other to contain the records having amount in INR by making use of this currency conversion. Once you get both the outputs from your AMDP class, consume it in your ABAP program and then make use of modern ABAP to mix both the set of data and show this final, this is output. Is it clear, Aldo? How to make use of both the concepts? One is with respect to the AMDP class and the other is with respect to the modern ABAP. Yes, the data set merging will be done using modern ABAP. Yeah, data fetching and the currency conversion. Yeah, tell me, Kiran.
The last question, right? The deep structure. So
yeah,
is it something possible? But can you proceed with it?
That's why I have given you the question, no? Even I gave you the answer also as a part of the limitations. You know the answer now only.
Okay.
See, this is why I have given you a question to understand where to go with AMDP, where to not go with AMDP, where to go with modern ABAP, OpenSQL, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, all the three possibilities is not going to work for this, right? I mean, the 7.
Right, right. Why I have given you this? Why I have given you this? Because already I told you that in AMDP, your the deep or complex table type you cannot have. So if somebody is telling that this is the requirement, can I go with AMDP? How can he even think of the same? When already a restriction is there, he cannot proceed on the same, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So with that perspective only.
Okay.
See, as a developer, don't you think development is not the priority? First on, like, how do we plan and execute as to how we proceed, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because the plan, if the planning and execution is better, development is nothing.
Yeah.
So from that perspective only.
Okay. Okay.
Any further question? If there is no further question, then we can wind up. We'll again meet up next week with the advanced concepts with both CDS and AMDP.
Next week is the last, right? I mean, last 2 days.
Yeah, next 2 days, day 9 and day 10 is the last.
Okay.
When we will be covering the advanced concepts of CDS and AMDP. Okay guys, I think there is no further question. Yeah, tell me.
Okay, do you cover up that association part in the CDS?
Yeah. We will see that association also.
Okay.
Next day 9 we will cover association also. association in serious view.
Okay, fine.
See, Danny, that is not a part of this course, but as I told you that I'll show you a glimpse of how we consume a series with annotations in query. Okay, Danny? Yeah, the system will be available till your, I think, what is the date and time you have told? I think till October maybe, or maybe up to 10th or something. You can check with SAP Art for the same. If you want any system extension or something, you can just drop to a mail to SAP Art and check for the feasibility of the same. Yes, Aldo. AMDP can be consumed in series via table function, but not vice versa. Right. Except using SQL view directly. Right. You can make use of an AMDP via series table function. So that AMDP will be not AMDP method. Those will be database function. We will see the same next week. You will be able to get a better clarity on that. Okay. Fine then. So I hope that there is no further doubts. I hope you had a good learning session today with respect to AMDP basic concepts. And please practice on this assignment so that you get more hands-on with the native SQL script. Please practice on this assignment, okay? And whatever assignments we had given earlier, if you have, anyone of you have not completed the same, please work on the same. Fine, great. Have a great week. See you again next week. Stay safe. Fine then. Bye.
you.